Now I want to get into my rant. I want to address the topic that I mentioned first, how I am not a nihilist. I essentially want to address my attitude as of late because recently I have found myself saying, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? No big deal. Who cares? I've been saying that a lot recently, and I think that can be misunderstood, and maybe even has been misunderstood as something much more negative. I think it may have been misunderstood as nothing matters, and that is far from the truth. That is not what I am getting at. That's not the view that I hold. I am not a nihilist. I think plenty of stuff matters. I want to explain my thought process here so you can leave this show without a bad taste in your mouth, without thinking, oh, Bandrew's telling me that nothing matters. Maybe nothing does matter. Why do I get out of bed in the morning? I don't want you leaving this show thinking that. So I want to explain myself. Now, how am I going to explain myself? I saw a tweet that I want to share with you. Bad start. It's about to get worse. That tweet was from Elon Musk. And I know 75, maybe 95% of you just groaned, ugh, Elon Musk. Gosh, I can't stand this guy. I get it. But this tweet encapsulates a lot of how I view the world now, or my new outlook on the world. If you are just listening, I will describe it to you. If you're watching, you will see the photo on screen. There are two people sitting on a bus or a train. One of them is looking at a dark mountain and pouting and looking sad, saying, "It's out of my control." Then the other person on the bus or train is looking out the opposite side of the window over a very bright desert where the sun is shining. They have a massive smile on their face and they're saying, "It's out of my control." Now, this doesn't perfectly encapsulate my outlook on the world because I am not thrilled that certain things are out of my control. I am not thrilled that the value of the dollars that I have saved up are being devalued and I have no power over that. However, what I do have control over is my outlook on these events. I could allow all of these negative things going on around me, my dollar being devalued, my inability to buy a home, my YouTube channel being taken away from me for 48 hours, 24 hours, I don't even know how long it was anymore. I could be a full-on doomer and say, oh gosh, I can't believe this. This is the worst thing ever. It's out of my control. Or I could say, I've done everything I can. Let's see what I can control. And that's where it differs because I'm not necessarily thrilled that it is out of my control, but I am willing to say, well, I'm not going to let that have a negative impact on my day-to-day life. I'm not going to allow things that are out of my control to have a negative impact on my emotional state. And instead of being a doomer and thinking nothing matters or kicking rocks and saying, oh, heckin' jeez and shooting butts and stuff, I can't buy a home, I'm going to think, okay, I can't buy a home. That's just the state of things. What can I do to resolve this issue? Because this is a state that I am not thrilled with. What can I do to resolve that? I can save more. Okay, that's pretty easy to do. Just save, well, maybe not easy anymore, but you can try to do that. You could try to hedge against inflation. I've tried, not been very effective. You'd think, oh, precious metals, that'd be a good thing to hedge against inflation. Nope. So I have had very bad luck with my very basic and very minimal attempts at hedging, but I look at the things that are in my control as opposed to the things out of my control because I don't want other people's actions to have massive impacts over my life, over my day-to-day well-being. And I know it sounds a little bit hippy-dippy saying, oh, I don't want other people to have an impact over my emotional state, my emotional well-being, but it's so easy to allow other people's actions with printing of money, devaluing of currency, inflating the market, pumping and dumping cryptocurrency, whatever it may be that has a negative impact on you in one aspect of your life. It's easy to allow that to have a negative impact on other parts of your life and put you in a crappy mood, and then you're mean to people around you. I have been trying to avoid that. So instead of going doomer, I just say, who cares? It's out of my control. If it's something in my control, I'll say, okay, well, what can I do to rectify the issue? So I wanted to address that and explain that because I don't want people thinking that I have gone black-pilled. I think that's the correct term for doomer or nihilist. I am not a nihilist. I think the world's wonderful. Does it have its faults? Absolutely. Does it have people who are evil who seem to just be trying to ruin the world? Sure. Sure, absolutely. Do I have any control over that? No, I don't. No, I don't. And you may be thinking, just look at that privileged guy sitting in his bedroom talking into a microphone. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I'm just sharing my outlook on the world. And if you want to hate me because of it, more power to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Now, something else that I did. This may have been a mistake. Never read replies on Twitter. But I was curious to see what people were saying to Elon in replies to that tweet. I was guessing that the vast majority would be, oh, look at you from your ivory tower, you privileged billionaire, shut up. I didn't see any of that. What I did see was about 500,000 cryptocurrency scams, and amidst all of those cryptocurrency scams, those pump and dump schemes, I saw one tweet that stood out to me, and I thought it was really interesting. So I want to go ahead and share this with you. This is a page from a book that somebody posted a picture of. The book is apparently called The Daily Stoic. If you're watching, you will see this on screen. If you are just listening, I will read it to you now. This is for an entry in the book titled The Enemy of Happiness, and it starts with a quote that says, "It is quite impossible to unite happiness with a yearning for what we don't have. Happiness has all that it wants, and resembling the well-fed, there shouldn't be hunger or thirst." Epictetus, Discourses 3:24-17. And then it goes on to explain the quote in more modern terms, and it says, "I'll be happy when I graduate. We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when I get this promotion, when this diet pays off, when I have the money that my parents never had. Conditional happiness is what psychologists call this kind of thinking. Like the horizon, you can walk for miles and miles and never reach it. You won't even get any closer. Eagerly anticipating some future event, passionately imagining something you desire, looking forward to some happy scenario. As pleasurable as these activities might seem, they ruin your chance at happiness here and now. Locate that yearning for more, better, someday, and see it for what it is, the enemy of your contentment. Choose it or your happiness. As Epictetus says, the two are not compatible." Now, obviously, this is less about the entire idea of not allowing things out of your control to impact your happiness or your mental well-being. This is about appreciating what you do have. And I know that I struggle with this a lot, but I think this is really good advice. And this is just something that I saw and said, wow, that was actually something positive on Twitter. I like this idea. I like this idea because it kind of does tie in with what I was talking about earlier. I have been complaining, I can't buy a house. That would be some kind of stretch goal that I have, to put it in what Kickstarter terms. It's a stretch goal that I have. I want to own a home. And that could put me in a terrible mood. I can't buy a home, but what I could do is appreciate the fact that I have a nice home to live in right now. I may not own it, but I have a roof over my head. I have plenty of microphones to play with. I have the ability to talk to people on the internet like a crazy person, like I'm going to be crucified in the 1600s for speaking to Satan through a black piece of glass. I could be thrilled about that instead of being upset or depressed or angry at the fact that I can't accomplish X, Y, or Z. Instead of being depressed about the fact that my YouTube growth is declining, I could just say, wow, I have accomplished amazing things on YouTube. I have over 200,000 subscribers on my main channel. That is amazing. I should be proud of that. And that's something that I know I struggle with, and I know a lot of people struggle with, because instead of appreciating what you have and what you've accomplished, as soon as you meet a goal, you just set another one. So you always have that desire to accomplish more and more, and you very rarely, if ever, take the time to sit down and say, wow, good job. You did something great there. Well done. And pat yourself on the back. Or in my case, pat myself on the neck. That's very uncomfortable. Don't pat yourself on the neck. That's something that you got positive out of this show. I gave you great advice. Don't pat yourself on the neck because it stings. That's my rant. I just wanted to get that out there and share that little piece of advice with you. I don't know what stoicism is, but that's interesting to me. I think I'm going to look into this. I don't want to be one of those obnoxious philosophers. I'm gonna have to come up with a different term for philosophizing. Yes, jeez Louise. It's Friday evening. So I'm not gonna worry about mispronouncing. I do not want to become one of those awful philosophizers who post all these inspiring quotes on Twitter or has an entire podcast about that. I just wanted to explain myself, and I saw something that I thought was fun and wanted to share that with you.